ultimately into comedy, right? That's why I'm a teacher, I'm not a comedian, so I'll keep it that way. On page 27, you've got a whole bunch of formulas. Can I just give you a heads up? This one is extremely important to have on your study sheet. It already has the loan in it, so there's actually no need to have the loan, right? Like if you have this one properly labeled and I just ask you how much you need to borrow, boom, just price minus down payment. That's what you need to borrow. Total paid to the bank, sometimes it's asking you, some students will add the down payment here, but that's not true. The down payment is simply to bring down the amount you owe, right? So from 12 to 10. So total paid to the bank is based on the payments themselves. So just take your payment times 12. This is a yearly amount, right? And then multiply by the number of years. And then you've got the total amount you will have paid the bank at the end of your loan, okay? If you want to know the interest you've paid in total, you take what you paid them, right? And subtract what you started with. Where is this number, guys? I'm going to use a highlighter for this because I feel like if it sticks out, you're going to remember. This number came from here. That's very important. Like a lot of students grab, the purchase price or something out there. It's like, go back to this piece where you figured out what the amount of the loan actually is, and then bring that here, and boom, you got it. This one is first month only. This formula pertains to finding the interest on just that first payment. On the first payment, how much interest of that payment, right, goes to the bank. And then why is there principal on the first month? Because we know that lowercase I and lowercase p, these two always add up to your payment, guys. Always. And so if you have your interest calculated, you take this number that you got here and just subtract it from the payment, because maybe I'll do that on the side. The payment is always made up of principal and interest. Always. It's a blended system. So if I give you both of these, P and I, you can add them up to get your payment. If I give you the payment and the interest, right, you subtract these two to get that one, or you subtract these two to get that one. That's how it goes. It's a trifecta there. All right, let's go to our example here. Page 28. Go with me. Make sure you have two solid examples written down, right? So the first one involves no down payment whatsoever. The second one will. Okay, here we go. So we already determined that we needed to borrow this much. It happens to be a new car, not really relevant here, but it's 5 years at 3.5%. That's important. So your rent payment is the formula. This is on page 28. This is a table rate divided by 1,000. It's not 100. Okay. So where did I get this table rate? I got that from obviously my table. And here's the interest rate, and you got to match it with the years, right? So in this case, it was 3.5 matches 5 years. So that's the table rate I got there per $1,000 of loan. Multiply, divide, 572.99. Boom, there's your answer. That's your monthly payment, doesn't change. Now, the total amount paid back to the bank in 5 years. They're asking for this, total paid to the bank. That's payment times 12 months times, because if you just kept it like that, that would be 1 year. In this case, it's 5 years. Hold on, I'm not going to do 5. I'm just going to go years here because this is the general formula. Boom. 572.99 times 12 times 5, all in one shot, right? So grab your calculator. 72.99 times 12 times 5. So there we go. It's a big number. 34,379 and 4. I'm just going to leave it like that because that's what my calculator tells me. But that's where you come in and you fix that, right? You cannot leave the 0.4. You must add a 0 there to get 100% on that question. Okay. So I'm going to go watch this, right? Watch. Right? Now, the total interest paid on the loan. This is TI. TI, total interest. I'm going to write down the whole thing again. You essentially need to copy this one. You need to figure out how much you paid the bank. Do it even though you might understand it now. Later on when you review, you might forget, right? So minus the loan. And that reminds me that I forgot to label the loan up there. I'm going to go up, way up here, and I'm just going to put the loan here, just in brackets like that. This is the loan. There's no down payment, so the amount of the car is the loan, the entire amount you're financing. If you're like me, I don't have enough money to save up, so I just go finance the whole thing. I would encourage you to save up, but once you have kids and a bunch of responsibilities, it's tougher, right? So here we go. Payment, I already know what that is. 12,500, right? It's essentially exactly the same as up here, but now I'm going to go minus the loan, which is 31,500. I'm going to use a green highlighter just to tell me, right, that the loan came from way up here. I encourage you to use that number, if right, like instead of fishing for other numbers, just go get it from up there. Why am I saying that? Because this number multiplied by the table rate essentially tells you how much the bank is going to charge you monthly. And so this is the loan that you're considering for this payment. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to copy paste my previous answer, hoping that I got that right. Minus 31,500, which, right, that's the loan. So here I'm going to answer, put my dollar sign down. There it is. Make it a bit brighter. I feel like my bulb is dying here. The intensity is being lost. 2879.40. That is what we call the total interest. Total interest, finance charge, cost of borrowing, same thing. Okay. Next. Yeah.
On the exam, if it does ask for the total monthly benefit for asking for the interest rate on the loan, do we still have to like rewrite the entire formula?
You actually don't have to write down any formulas. You just have to show your work. So I just do it for your notes, like where did I get that from? But you don't have to. Actually, this is the province doesn't give us any formulas for this unit, really. There's one formula that you'll see later for fuel economy. The rest I just gave you. Yeah, so it's up to you how you want to do it. You don't have to rewrite the formula. You can just show like your numbers that you're multiplying or adding or subtracting, and that's good enough.
Okay.
Yeah, good question. The amount of interest and principal paid on the first month. This is important. I'm going to highlight this. It's not the total interest. It's just the first month, the interest and the principal on the first month. Make sure you write this down. Because it says first month, that's what we call lowercase I and lowercase p. And here's where I'm going to tell you something. If you don't know either one of these, you must use that formula that I gave you, this one. I is equal to loan times interest rate divided by 100, all of that divided by 12. Start here, right? Start with finding the interest and then you will figure out the principal. Okay, if both are unknown, that's what you do. So here we go. I is loan, which is 31,500. My interest rate is, what is it for this case? This is what I see a lot. Don't copy this. Don't copy yet. That is not the interest rate. That is what I call the table rate. Okay, this is the table rate. That's wrong. What is your interest rate? Go back to the problem. 3.5, yes, yes. So you must use that one. So you go 3.5 divided by 100. You can just do the dividing right away, but then make sure you don't double divide. You don't go divide by 100 and then divide by 100 again. Right? So I'm doing this to let you know, hey, the interest rate, whatever it is, needs to be divided by 100, and this formula takes care of that. Okay? So here we go. I is 31,500. Watch how I would do this. Times 3.5 divided by 100. I'm going to hit equals here. All of that divided by 12. And there it is, 91.88. 91.88. That's the interest portion of your first payment. Now find principal. Okay, so principal is taking my payment and subtracting this amount that I determined. So principal is my payment is $572.99 minus $91.88, and I'm going to do that on my calculator. So $480, sorry, 481.11 goes towards paying off your actual loan. This will bring down what you owe the bank. This goes into their treasury. That's their profit, right? So the first month they collect that. The rest they use to pay off your loan. And then the next month, this repeats itself. They redo, they recalculate. How much do you owe now? Okay, we'll figure out the interest. Then we'll figure out the principal. Then next month comes along. They repeat that whole process. Well, the computers do. They just input the information, right? So these two add up to your payment. Okay, these two add up to your payment. So we had to go through interest first. Then we used it. Okay, we used it. If this is going to mess up your notes, don't do it, right? But I'm just going to say I plugged that in there. Once I knew what it was, I subtracted it there. Okay. Let's do one more together. And I think after that you're gonna be all right. You're gonna be able to fly solo for a bit. So come with me to page 29. That one involves a down payment, so it's a little trickier, just a little trickier. Just gotta watch out. Okay. So page 29. I'm not gonna fit the table every single page. So there's a monthly payment chart. It's on page 32, I believe. So let's go find it. On page 32, you have a lot of interest rates. It's like, right, it goes from 3% all the way down to 12% down here. So it's just a bigger version of that small one I gave you on the previous question. Okay, so this is the one you need for every single question in this particular section. You need to refer to this payment calculator. Let's go. Let's go to 29. And if you want to do it yourself at this point, go for it. I'm not going to stop you. So let's try if we can do this in 10 minutes. Let's see if we can do it. Or less. So Dilraj is purchasing a Honda Acura for $35,600 after tax. Okay, so they're telling you, hey, don't worry about it. Any taxes have been already applied. That's how much you're looking to finance. He saved up. I'm going to highlight the important info actually. $35,600, saved up $4,900 for a down payment, right? That's my down. The remaining amount, right, needs to be financed over 4 years at an interest rate of 7.25. That's a high interest rate, by the way. Calculate. Okay. The monthly payment. Sure. I'm not going to show the formula in this one anymore. I'm just going to say, right, you have it on your study sheet and you say, okay, the price is $35,600. I'm going to subtract the down payment from it, which is $4,900 like this. Close the brackets. I can't tell you how many students miss the brackets and get the whole thing wrong. Okay. Next, put this over 1,000. Then go get that table rate. Let's go to page 32. You got to remember two things. 4 and 7.25. Remember that? Four years matches 7.25. And I just got to go. This gives you a full mark, guys, even for the province. You're just picking the right number. So that's $2,407 per $1,000 of loan that you're going to have to pay every month. So let's go back. 2,407. Remember that number? That's actually 2,407 like that, a dollar amount. And I got this page 32, right? Match 4 years with 7.25%. Okay. Oops, you can see that. There we go. That's how I got that. And I want you to always show me, you can do it this way if you'd like. Watch how I'm going to do this. Tell me that number. Write down that number. Don't just compute this. Okay. 30,700. What do we call this number? Loan, yes. So you are borrowing 30,700. Okay. Take that number now and multiply it by 24.07. Then divide it by 1,000. And that gives you, I'm going to run out of space here, but I think I can make it work. 738.95. This is the number. This is the payment that you're going to have to pay every month for 4 years. Every month for 4 years, you're going to have to pay that. Okay? Let's keep going. Total amount paid to the bank in 4 years. What I don't like about this is that it goes through the formulas in order. It may not do that all the time. Okay? 738.95 times 12 times 4. So watch this. 12 times 4 is 48, right? So you're making 48 payments of 738. Right? 738.95 times 12 times 4. And it should be more than what you borrowed. That's another indicator that you're doing things right. Because the bank will always charge you more at the end of the day than what you borrowed, right? You took 30 grand, they charge you 35 grand, right? That's what it costs to borrow. The total interest paid, all right, TI is, should I do the whole thing again? Doesn't hurt. I'm at least going to write it down. I'm not going to actually type it into my calculator, but how is this different? I'm going to go minus 35,600. Nope. 4,900. Nope. 30,700, right? Like you're taking the loan. Sometimes some of you don't have highlighters, so this is your alternative. That's your alternative, arrows. So minus, so I'm just going to take that number that I have from my previous answer. I'll at least show what I'm doing here. Okay. And I'm just going to subtract 30,700. Oops, mistake. There we go. 4,769.60. Interest, guys. Almost 5 grand. So if a bank has like a couple thousand loans out there, which is not unusual, and people owe even more than that, right? They're making some serious money with this model, right? Like, sure, they have to pay their people investing and saving, but they're also making money. Okay? Right. You just have to have a lot of cash at first to get started. The principal and interest paid in the first month. There's that key word, the first month or the first month's payment. So they're just focusing. I'm going to say this on the side. Zoom in to one payment. Exclamation mark. That's what you're doing here. You don't know the principal and interest of the first month's payment. You don't know. So which one do you start with? Interest. You need to start with the interest. So I'm going to take my loan. I'm going to take my interest rate, which is 7.25, divide that by 100. And then my answer, I'm going to divide it by 12 because you want just 1 month. So it's 1 over 12. That's where you get the divided by 12. So 30,700. Practice this using your calculators, right? Times 7.25. So I multiply these two and divide it by 100. I hit equals there. And then I need to know just 1 month worth. So divide this by 12, and there it is, 185.48. It has to be less than your payment, guys. The interest on the first payment has to be less than your actual payment, or else it doesn't work, right? And so then to find the principal portion, you just take your payment, which is 738.95, subtract 185.48. And there it is, 553.47. Okay, that's your principal, and this is your interest. Okay. Boom. E. How much did Dilraj pay for the car in total, including the down payment? That's the one we didn't do yet, but I gave you the formula. Total paid for the car. So you have to figure out how much you paid the bank, and you have to add your down payment because ultimately the down payment went towards buying that car. And I'm just at this point going to copy paste numbers here. This doesn't happen very often, but if it does, you know what to do. There you go. So ultimately, at the end of the day, the car that cost $35,600 ended up, costing Delrash $40,000. And that's it for now. I'm going to pause right here and ask you to try the following. So I write down maybe the questions that I'm going to tell you to do. Where it says financing worksheet, so that's on page 33. Let's see here. It stops on page 36, so 33 to 36. Okay, some of you are going to finish the whole thing. Some of you are going to finish half of it. I know that everybody has their own pace, right? But at least be productive, right? Do something. I'm okay if you're not finishing the whole thing, but I might not even give you the whole time to finish the whole thing, but do enough, right? Do enough that you have a pretty good sense. I know how to do this. Who knows, Monday, I might give you an AC on financing already, okay? So use your table on 32. And that's it for now. I'm going to pause it right here. Page 31. Have at least two of each here on your study sheet. The question is asking, or it's asking, how can you reduce or lower the total interest paid on a loan? The very first option should be reduce. This is on page 31. Reduce the term of the loan, right? So 3 years instead of 5 years, let's say. So you're like, okay, I want to pay less interest. You got to pay it off faster. So you tell your bank, no, I don't want a 5-year loan. I want a 3-year loan. That's how you could reduce your total interest paid. Another way of doing this is making additional payments. And this is huge, right? So if you make an extra amount somewhere, or you get some birthday money or whatever, instead of going and spending it on other things, you can go to a bank and say, hey, here, $1,000 towards my loan, please. That entire $1,000 will go towards bringing down the amount you owe, because the payments take care of the interest. Anything additionally goes towards the loan, and it shortens the amount of time it will take to pay off that loan. That's why you're essentially saving interest. Another one is to make a larger down payment. Because if you think about it, that essentially takes then less time to pay off, or you're borrowing less money. So make a larger down payment. That is another way. And another one would be negotiate or shop for lower interest rate. I think that one everybody would agree. Even though you can't really force a bank to lower the interest rate, you can shop around and see which bank has a lower interest rate. You can definitely do that. A lot of car dealerships, they offer multiple rates from multiple banks, and you pick the one you want to go with. But if it's private, you got to go and find your own. Next, how can you reduce or lower the monthly payment? So if you want to reduce your monthly payment, you actually have to increase the term. So 5 years instead of 3. Okay, so the longer you take to pay it off, the less you'll have to pay on a monthly basis because now you have more time, right? So, however, this will result in more interest paid. You just have to know what it does, right? Um, increase the down payment. So that is the same for both. If you increase the down payment, then the payment that you'll have to make will be less because you owe them less now, right? And this one is the same as well. Negotiate / shop for lower rate. Some questions will say, other than looking for a lower interest rate, what else can you do to reduce your monthly payment? You could say reduce the term. Use your own words. You can say take less time to pay it off. Sorry, in this case, it would be take longer to pay it off, take more time to pay it off, right? Save up a bigger down payment. Anything like that will do, okay? That's it. We're done for today. The pros and cons of used next week.